My George, we're live to the metropolis.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. We're back with another show. We've got a full house today. I'm going to introduce you to my guests first. So we've got Dan. How are you, mate?
I'm all good, thanks, George. All good. Good to be here again.
Yeah, done 2 back-to-back shows, mate. It's like overtime. This.
It is, yeah. So I won't do next week. Don't worry.
So we've got making his debut, Darren. How you doing, mate?
Very good. Thank you for having me on. Buzzing on my debut. Buzzing.
If you have a good debut, we'll give you like a short-term deal. Also, Paul, making debut. So how are you, mate?
I'm all good, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, should be good. And we've got podcast queen. How you doing, Nat?
Oh, thank you. I'll take that. Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thanks for having us on.
No worries. And then I heard it is someone's birthday. I can't think who it was, but Daisy, how are you?
I'm brilliant. This is the best birthday ever. Here with you guys. 3rd show in a row as well.
Yeah. You're taking over from Andrew, I reckon, just because he bottled it today.
Don't tell him that.
I just told everyone. So but yeah. So yeah, thank you all for coming on. We're gonna go over the Everton game and then we'll talk about Man City. So we'll get the crap out of the way first. So we went into the Everton game. I'll start with Natalie. I'll start with you. How was you feeling before the game? Obviously, I know that probably changed.
I don't know. I think as soon as we got 3rd sort of wrapped up, I always find that he's sort of in dangerous territory with any games that follow. Because I don't think any of us saw, Chelsea dropping points or City dropping points. So I think I was like, it's one of them nothingy games. And Everton's a tricky one because we haven't really performed massively well against them in the past. So they're sort of a bit annoying as that game turned out to be. But I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. Sunday early kickoff in a park. So, yeah, but, it was what it was. More annoyed now, I think, after the Chelsea game, I think.
Yeah, I agree. When I saw the Chelsea score, I was kind of occupied on the Sunday because it was the men's North London derby. So obviously that happened and I didn't see much of the game. So I watched the Everton game back and I said in the group, I'm more annoyed now that I've watched it back. And Chelsea lost and I was like, I was happy like trolling Chelsea fans on Twitter and Emma Hayes. I'm fine with that. But then I was like, hold on a minute, we could have got 2nd. So yeah. I'll come to you, Darren. What obviously the line up and that, was you expecting us to win? I know we expect us to win all the time, but it's like Nat said, we was basically found in a sort of park, wasn't we?
But it was so frustrating. I mean, firstly, I was very annoyed that I was one of the very few people, or many people, I should say, that had their ticket nicked back by Everton, so I couldn't go. So I was very excited to watch it on TV, but it was so disappointing, wasn't it? I was just going to say we probably shouldn't have let Nat speak first, because if anybody listened to the Red and White podcast this week, she went on one. She was ranting. It was brilliant. I was really excited when I see your name in the lineup tonight, because I thought this is going to be fireworks when George asks us about the Everton game.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't listened to it, guys, have a listen. Nat was on it big time.
I'm waiting for some negativity from that, but I'll take that. I did go on a bit of a rant, I must say.
No, you spot on though. You really, really were. The game reminded me a little bit of my ex-wife's final words to me: "Promised so much, delivered so little." What more can you say? It was frustrating. I mean, we've had too many of those games this season, haven't we? And ultimately, it's cost us a chance of the title. I don't know. Maybe Patrick and Jonas need to go and speak to, the tactics man at the Arsenal men and swap laminates, because something clearly isn't right with our set pieces also.
Yeah. So I'm still laughing at what you said about your ex-wife. This is going to be
So I'm over it, Jules. Don't worry, I'm not bitter about it anymore.
No, that's right. It's just a comedy value, but yeah, I was more frustrated with it than I wouldn't say I was like really angry because I think that was Tottenham away from me. Like I remember someone talking to me, and I think it was Lewis. He went, "You're right, mate." I went, "Don't talk to me." I was so angry. Like if someone looked at me, I probably looked like Daredevil mixed with the Incredible Hulk because my eyes probably. I've just never been so angry. And then I was going to West Ham away, and I was just like, no, I was like, I can't be dealing with this. But yeah, it's those disappointing results, though, isn't it, Paul? Like you think West Ham away, Tottenham away, Everton away, like the list goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we picked up some great wins against obviously Chelsea at home, Man United at home, and even a couple of weeks ago we picked up that 3-0 against Leicester. You almost thought, okay, they've got third place. Is the pressure now off them? Could they have actually come out and tried something a little bit different against Everton? But I think we're just too predictable. Is one of the problems. Jonas has got his sort of plan A. This is what we're going to do. It doesn't work, so he makes the same sort of substitutions almost week in, week out on the hour mark. Chloe on for Caitlin and things, and if that doesn't work, he doesn't seem to have a third option. It's A or B, and that's it. I think what we just said about the tacticians just need to look at something. Maybe Patrick needs some new laminates to show them. Or maybe it was timing against Everton to, this is my starting 11, but maybe make a couple of changes, play a couple of the academy players in, mix it up a little bit, do something a little bit different.
Yeah, no, do that. Daisy, I'll come to you. I'm going to just say what I think really bluntly. For me, watching Jonas's teams at the minute is absolutely boring. And I'm kind of glad I can't see it. It's just there's no like pace in the team. Would you agree with that or disagree?
I understand, where you're coming from. I think if we look at these 2 games before, obviously it went well. We won the game comfortably, and that it seemed very much like he was going for third time lucky against Everton. If we watched the game earlier on in the season against Everton, I think most of us maybe were a bit naive last week when we predicted it would be a similar scoreline, because Everton were quite good against us earlier on in the season as well. So I think he went with the fact that he thought we'd be able to do the same thing again. The truth is, we created loads of chances. It did work. We just didn't finish them. That's the truth. And if we had finished those chances, maybe we'd be having a different conversation now, because we possibly would have won that game by a lot more goals.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dan, is there any comment?
No, not at the moment. Just say from Russ saying hello. That's it at the moment. I think no one's got anything to say about the game last week.
If you do have comments, just put them in the chat and Dan will read them out. I'll go into you, Dan. What's your overall thoughts on the game? Do you agree with what people said, or do you look at it?
Yeah. I definitely agree with you, Jill, that at the moment we are very boring to watch. I mean, it wouldn't, for Everton to sort of know what we were going to do for that game, it didn't need a lot of planning, really. They didn't have to watch hours and hours of Arsenal matches and come and watch us play live to know what we were going to do in that game. And I mean, again, personally, I think Everton deserved a draw. I don't think we did enough to win the game. I don't know that we had that many clear-cut chances. There was like world-class saves, or I know we had a few sitters. Maybe we missed a bit of missed timing, but I think Everton played well enough and probably deserved a point, really. But yeah, same substitutions. I thought Alessia, when she went up front, looked a lot better. I remember sort of saying it in a group chat that she was playing far too deep in sort of 60 minutes. As soon as she was pushed up front a little bit more, she was obviously more effective. Then it sort of sparked Beth into life as well. But yeah, just frustration, clear frustration again.
Yeah. I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Viviana Meadham on that. What's your thoughts on that? Obviously, I know a lot of protected ITKs on Twitter think that she's leaving, and I suppose we don't know that, but she should have at least featured in that game, shouldn't she?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what everyone's saying with regards to the fact that we are boring as hell. I do a thing every time Caitlin gets the ball. I'm like, oh, get the ball, shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Don't do anything with it or put it in the box. I'm literally bored of watching the same crap. And I think I say crap because I just think at this point, and I can't remember who said it before, but why not use these games? We've got Champions League qualifiers at least. Go for it. Change it up, change formation, play the academy players that have been brought back from Watford aren't getting any game time now. Like, why not put them on? Like, if we lose a game, it doesn't matter. And me, as a supporter, I would much rather watch and go, well, he's testing stuff out in games that effectively don't mean anything as much because we've got what we need. So why not? I'd rather go, listen, he tried something new, so I can't have a go at him. So, and Viv, I mean, whether there's something not quite right, because she's not playing this week, is she? I think I was reading earlier, I think her knees tweaked again. But like, Viv is like, she scored that goal against Everton last season when we won 1-0. You need someone to come on and just take that game by the scruff of the neck and go, girls, like, what the hell are we playing at? Like, let's create something and score because we should be smashing these teams. So I think she was frustrated. I think the way she acted, I missed it. I heard some stuff afterwards, I cannot bring myself to watch the game back. But I think she probably felt how we felt, which was extremely frustrated. I just think if you're going to bring her on, like, you know, bring her on at 75 minutes, even if she's got a bit of time, and just try and do something. And yeah, but I could talk for an hour. Whole thing. I'd rather him on Sunday just play whoever he bloody wants and let's just, I don't know, have some fun with the last two games this season. I don't care if we get beat on Sunday if we just try something else. And you know, we are predictable, and we're not going to do anything next season if we carry on like this. So anyway, rant over. On to the next.
That's cool. We'll get a few more subscribers for that, Matt. So that's good, thanks. Talking about rants, I'm going to come to you, Darren, because I know you're quite a big backer of Jonas at the moment. Do you think he can get the best out of his main 11, or do you think he's not capable of doing that? Because what I mean by that is the players that are playing we should be getting better results, shouldn't we?
Well, yes, you've got to play for the shirt first and foremost. Did you say I'm a backer or a battler of Jonas?
You're a backer of him. Like,
okay. I'm not sure that's necessarily true, despite what I might have said in the group the other day. I mean, here's the thing, guys. I mean, you guys have all been Arsenal women supporters for probably a few seasons. This is my first full season, so I don't think I'm anywhere near qualified to speak about Jonas just yet. If we're speaking about the men, then that would be a different matter. But, you know, my first game, not to distract from what George asked me, was Manchester United last season at the Emirates. And I went to that reluctantly on the invitation of my brother. But I absolutely fell in love with the women's team and the ethos around the women's team, the supporters club and the red and white. I've never experienced anything like that in 20 years of watching the men. So I absolutely love it. Do I think Jonas is going to take us to the next level? Am I qualified to answer that question? I'm not absolutely sure if I am. But when we're playing the big teams, you know, we put on a show. I mean, we mentioned earlier on, we've done some demolition jobs at the Emirates this season on some of the big boys. Yet when we come up against these little guys, we can't seem to pass their low block. And it's just so frustrating. That's one of the other things I always hear Nat shouting in the North Bank is pass sideways, pass sideways, pass sideways. And that's all they tend to do, trying to pass sideways to try and, get behind the defence. I think when Leah come back from her injury, and she was playing some of those long balls over the top of the defence, we had some reasonable success. But she doesn't seem to be doing that too often nowadays. I wonder if that's because she has an injury with her knee and she's too scared to try anything extravagant with that knee, so she's keeping it safe with the short passes.
Yeah.
I want to reserve my judgment on Jonas this at this moment because, as I said earlier, I'm not sure if I'm qualified enough to say get him out or give him another season. But if we're all honest, does one cup or 2 cups in 2 seasons really give him a pass into the next season? I'll leave that to the judges, you guys to judge whether that's a valid comment or not.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I'm kind of in both camps, which probably don't really help that. I don't think he should go now, but for me, next season, I think there's no more excuses. What do you think about that, Paul?
Yeah, I agree. Maybe one more season. He's had a lot to deal with over the last season and the season before, with obviously the number of ACLs going out. He's changed the team around quite a bit, brought in some new players. We've got the talent there. He's just got to get them performing. And I think next year it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Chelsea with Emma Hayes going and who comes in there, what sort of reaction the players are going to get there. Next season has got to be our year to be challenging right at the top till the final day, unless we win it with 5 games to spare, which would be wonderful. Or at least challenging up in the Champions League, the FA Cup. We need to be aiming for that quad that Emma hasn't won this year. And if we're in the same place this time next year, then I think questions really need to be asked about bringing someone else in into the management role.
Yeah, no, don't get that. Yeah, and that's just to clarify, if there is any Chelsea fans watching, won the quad this season. She's won 1 trophy, is she? No, don't think so. Apart from maybe manager of the month. So yeah. Daisy, I'll come to you. I was on a podcast the other day, and this question, I found it really interesting. I didn't agree with it, but someone was saying that they thought Katie McCabe was better, more on the left wing than left back. Do you agree with that, or you disagree?
For me personally, no. I don't like her on the left wing. I think this is the thing. I think it really depends on the other players that have played. I really think that Catley's done a great job. I mentioned that last week. Obviously, since we've brought Fox in on the right-hand side, our back 4 is and our full-backs are looking great, and it really is scary that we can't fit McCabe in that team right now. I think that is maybe the reason why people are considering her on the left wing more, is because does she start over Catley? Maybe not. For me personally, I think she does better when she's positioned further forward and she's allowed to get forward, because if you remember the start of the season, when she was getting on the edge of the box, she was getting all these opportunities. She scored goals for us that won us moments. I think maybe her being further forward in that sense is positive, but I still think she brings a lot in the left back position, and she can do that in this system that Jonas is playing. She can get forward as a left back. So for me, with the way we're playing at the minute with wingers, I don't think Katie McCabe's what fits into the system in that way. I think she fits better as a left back, to be honest.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Dan, is there any comments before I do the last bit on Everton?
Yeah, we had Sam. Hi to Sam. We said, last year for Jonas, next season, we obviously, like we've sort of been saying, we need to be able to deal with teams with a low block, and we're expecting more from the team. And another comment from sorry, I'm scrolling up, from Daniel Graham, who said with a good point as well. He was a bit disappointed that Jonas didn't bring on KTRE for the last sort of 5-10 minutes, just as it had a bit of height at the back. Bringing on sort of KCC and Pullover, or taking Pullover off, did make the team a bit shorter. And I know it was something I was sort of commenting in our group, that we have quite a short central midfield, and compared to a lot of the tall Everton players, we were definitely getting a bit overpowered. So yeah, a couple of good points there from Daniel and Sam.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. I'll go around quickly because we'll try to end this on a positive. So Dan, who was your player of the match for us?
I was going to say Kim again for me. She, I think, when we made a substitution, she was pushing forward. She was really trying to drive the team, and I know she did get a player of the match from BBC. But yeah, I thought she had a good game, or great game again, really. So very few, not giving the ball away a lot. Sort of trying to take the game by the scruff of the horns and make things happen.
Yeah, that what was said. She's like a wine, isn't she? That matures. Paul, who was your player of the match?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Dan actually on Kimmy. She was in that midfield. She was trying to get the ball out. She was actually trying different things. It was out to the left, out to the right, down the middle. Just collectively, nothing seemed to work for us. But she was sort of playing her heart out, as she always does, right in that centre and sort of holding the team together.
Yeah, I think she plays quite an important role there, doesn't she, as well, like in the middle. Daisy, who would your player of the match been?
I was going to try and think of somebody else to make it a bit more exciting, but that would do a disservice to Kimmy, wouldn't it? It has to be Kimmy in that game. She's just incredible, week in, week out. I mean, we expect it now, but we should still give her credit where credit's due. I think she's been fantastic this season, every season, to be honest. But yeah, in that game where we really struggled, and in a lot of games where we've really struggled, we've always seemed to somehow still put Kimmy as our player of the match. So I'll go with Kimmy as well.
Yeah. I assume you're going for Caitlin, Nat.
100%. Nobody shimmies like Caitlin, but I think I've got to agree. I mean, it's boring to say the same answer, but Kimmy's the engine, isn't she, of Arsenal? You know, when she's injured, we miss her. When she doesn't play, we miss her. You know, she keeps us working, whether it's at the back or getting forward. But yeah, it's Kimmy Little. What an absolute legend. But you can always count on her. She, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You know, if we were losing 9-0, she'd still be trying. I feel like we needed more people playing like. I will say, not just in this game, but I mean, I think Vicky P in that midfield with Kimmy is good. I mean, the girl can turn on a sixpence. She's so good in that place, and I think sometimes she just shot a little bit more. I think we'd have a little bit more success. I genuinely feel like she's just frightened to shoot. And I think she could be scoring a lot more goals, but yeah, Kimmy's legend.
Yeah, I agree about Vicky P. I always want her to take on the shot a bit more. I just think she could unlock so much more. But Darren, who are you going for player of the match?
Well, I mean, Vicky P, I agree with that. She was very good during that game. Unfortunately, she missed that open goal from 3 to 6 yards out. But I have to say that nobody else deserves the accolade more than Kimmy Little for this particular game. She was pivotal in the midfield, as she always is. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be my vote as well. Sorry to be boring and choose everybody else, but nobody else really deserves it for that match, if I'm perfectly frank.
No, we love Kimmy on this podcast. We'll forget.
Didn't ask Emma, George.
Oh, Emma, sorry. I'm really sorry. Emma, who would your player of the match be?
Annoyingly, yeah, it's got to be Kim. From what I could have seen from the game, I was actually at a drag bingo thing and watching the Arsenal women. But definitely from what I could see and when I watched it back, Kim Little is just outstanding player, and she needs to sign another contract before she leaves.
I'd give her a deal personally, but I think she could play for another 10 years, or probably 100 years. Why not?
She wants to play the appearance record, I think, doesn't we? Got all-time appearance record. We're going with Kimmy.
Yeah. Is there any comments, Dan?
No more. Just Daisy, the other Daisy, agreeing that Kimmy was player of the match. We had about some Russo. I thought Russo had a good game as well. When she sort of went up front, she come to life.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll move on to the Man City game. So obviously got Man City away on Sunday. I think it's 2:15 kickoff, isn't it? So I'll start with you, Emma. What's your thoughts going into the City game?
Without Bunny Shaw, we should have a good shot at it, but anything to take away the pleasure from Emma Hayes winning another trophy, that would be a good thing. Although I was listening to Jonas's press conference, and he seems to think that he wants to win every game, but he needs to prove it in the selection.
Yeah. Saying that, he thought he. What with the lineup, Paul? Do you think there'll be many changes, like what's been said by the other guys? Like obviously we've got a couple of the younger players that are able to play, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, I personally don't think he will change it. It's like we've said earlier, he's very predictable. But now we've got obviously people like Michelle back from Watford, and that would be nice to see her get some minutes, even if it's sort of half an hour in the second half. Vivian Leah as well. Saw her for about 10 minutes at London City, I believe it was, for her debut. I'd like to see those get some minutes with a lot of the first team regulars, not put out a full academy side, but just make one or two changes, get them integrated into the team, ready for next season, and try some different things. That's what I'd like to see. But whether we will or not, another question.
Yeah. Daisy, do you think it'll be the same team, or do you think there's a chance of a couple of changes? I know Sabrina's back, isn't she? So do you think she could start?
I would say probably Manu will start. I thought she had an okay game last time out. I think with Viv being out as well, I think did Nat say that Viv was out? I'm not sure, but I think we won't see many changes. I would like to see potentially a change in maybe Lacasse starting the game. I know she's had some substitute appearances, but really I don't think it's more the lineup, is it? It's more the, like we were saying earlier, it's more the way that we play. We want to see something different. I know that it's Manchester City, but really this is the time to do it, like we said earlier on. So it'd be nice if we could see potentially Cooney Cross. I mentioned that, but I don't think she was fit last time out. So I'd like to see some changes. I'd like to see us change the way we play a little bit. Something exciting. And why not? Because, like you say, nothing to lose, is there?
We'll go to you, Nat. So, like you said before, with trying something different, would you like to see Michelle play, or even Vivian, or would you just keep this? Would you like to keep the same and then bring them off?
Yeah, I mean, whether they'll start, I doubt that. We all know Jonas, and he'll stick to his thing. He's very similar to a lot of other mates. I compare that to Serena Wiegman. She doesn't make any changes. You can write her starting 11 pretty much. You might make one if you're lucky. But I think my biggest thing, and I don't know if anyone mentioned this before because I had some slight technical issues. I had to jump out and jump back in again. But I hate the fact that Claudina's sitting there, who I actually think is really good, did really well in Conti Cup final. Whether she's not match fit, but how she wasn't starting as centre back, and we were putting Steph in there, who's, you know, she's a left back. I don't understand why we would move her into the centre and not play Claudina. And then that little things like that annoy me. It's like, does he not trust some of the players? Which is why I don't think he changes things up, which is really frustrating. I'd love to see Chloe starting on the left. I'd love to see, you know, maybe Vicky and Cooney Cross starting in the middle. If it's me, I'd change the entire 11. I don't know what I'd do. But if anyone could just have a word in Jonas's ear and just be like, look, love, we actually don't care if we lose as supporters. I don't know if you're all on the same page as me. The only thing I'm bothered about is Emma Hayes not winning absolutely anything. So, but if he just start Michelle up front, I'd be. The thing is, City know how to play against us. They'll think that exactly how we're going to set up. So for me, the best tactic against that is play something completely random that they've got no chance of understanding. So when that 11 comes out and he goes, "Oh, right, I didn't plan for this." So I just say have some. If it's me, if I'm the manager, I'm thinking we've got third. Let's have some fun. Get Michelle on. I mean, Vivian Leigh is incredible. Katie Reid, man. I mean, when she came on, what game was it when Laura came back? What game was that?
Oh, weren't Bristol, was no.
Was it Bristol?
Yeah, it was Bristol, wasn't it? So it was 5-0 up, yeah.
Can't remember who she absolutely mugged off like pretty quick after she came on, and it was just incredible. Plus, she got a bit of height in there as well. So no, he won't. Do we all want him to? Yes, we do. But it won't happen, and we'll see the starting 11, and it'll be same
old.
Same as, and there'll be just lots of us groaning. Oh God, yeah, same old. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we'll have fun regardless. So.
If I'm being honest, I don't think he'll change it that much. I was hoping he would. Darren, I'm going to come to you. It's a bit of the same sort of question.
Cool.
Think that you would think that Jonas should change?
Well, do you know what? The romantic in me, and it won't happen for the Man City game, but one can hope it might happen for the Brighton game. I'd love to see Naomi Williams given a chance in goal just for one game.
Yeah. Agree.
Watching her warm-ups, in the North Bank, we cheer every single save she makes. I know she's one for the future, but give her a run out, please. Particularly for the Brighton game, not the Man City game. I think, despite the fact that third is secured, we still need to show up for that game and put our best effort in and try to win. No matter the consequences further down the line, you've got to play for the shirt first and foremost, no matter what's happening with Chelsea and Man City, in my opinion. I would really like, Nat mentioned Kadina. I'm also wondering what the heck's going on with her. And we've got a World Cup winner on the bench. What's going on there? Is it because she has an injury, or is it because Jonas doesn't trust her? And if he doesn't trust her, why did he buy her? I mean, that's the question I ask myself. I'd give Lyra a rest, actually, and let's get Lotta and Kadina in the heart of defence. I'm not sure I like Steph playing in defence too much. Everybody's been making some wonderful noises, about the partnership of Stina and Alicia Russo, but has it really materialized just yet? I don't know. I was so looking forward to coming onto the show and saying, do you know what? I really am excited to see how Viv and Lessa play together. But of course, that's been knocked out because she's injured now. So I think we're probably going to have the almost same starting 11 as we had against Everton last week. However, it will be a different performance this week because, of course, City are not going to sit and defend. They're going to attack. That's going to open up the field of play. And I think it's going to be a really good game. I won't give you my score prediction just yet, George, because I know you probably asked for that later. But I think it's going to be a better game than we all witnessed last Sunday, no matter the starting 11.
Fingers crossed. I like the positivity. Dan, I'll come to you. Actually, it's quite ironic. Darren said about Stina and Russo, because that was going to be my next question. Do you actually think it's worked, or do you think it's too short time scale to say that, really?
I think the best game they played together was it a semi-final against Villa when Alessia was playing a bit more on the left, and I think just like I said earlier, the biggest problem I think in the Everton game was every time Russo's picking the ball up, she's on the halfway line and she's getting crowded out straight away. She looked a bit lost in that position, playing in the number 10. What I'd like to see is a bit more old style jumpers for goalposts and maybe a bit more of a 4-4-2 that they actually play off one another. I think that would be more effective. And why not? If it's Katie on the left and Beth on the right, sort of putting a few crosses into them. Yeah, go a bit old school, go a little bit different. But yeah, I think it's going to take time for them to get that understanding. Obviously they haven't played enough together throughout the season. I think like Darren says, it'd be nice to have seen Russo and Viv play together, but for the moment, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Might never happen. But yeah, I think regarding Sunday, it's a typical game Arsenal will go and win, 100%. But I think probably Frida will play. Hopefully, I haven't sort of seen the squad news. Hopefully, Lotta is back and put in the team. I mean, as an outside person, I'd maybe like to see Tara Goldie get some minutes. She sort of seems to have been on the bench for the last 3 or 4 months with not even getting a minutes on the pitch. So maybe give her a chance. But yeah, I think it's just like we've all said, try something a little bit different. Try a bit of a different tactic. I think in Jonas's first season, we seemed to play a bit more 4-4-2, and it was really effective. So that's bit of old school. Put a few crosses in, 2 up front. See what happens.
Is there any comment?
A few. I know with sort of guys I mentioned about Cooney cross plan from Daniel again. But yeah, that's it for the moment.
Thank you. I'll go to you, Emma. Talking about Frida, do you see her still having a future at Arsenal, or do you think she could be one of the players that leaves in the summer? I'm hoping she. What do you think?
I hope she stays because she's a good player, and I'm personally glad that she didn't have a life-changing incident that occurred. It's just one of those blips. But she's definitely a player for the future.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
Yeah. No. Cool. Thank you. Daisy, I'll come to you. So there's been a lot of talk about that number 10 role. If everyone was available, who do you think could make that 10 role their own? Do you think Palova could move to there, or do you think? Yeah, what do you think? You know, you're more expertise than I am, so.
Oh, I don't know about that, George. For me, it has to be Viv. I mean, I know that Viv typically likes to play in that role. I think even Jonas said like Alessia Russo is a lot better when she plays as the number 9. I know, obviously, I'm not trying to write off Stina Blackstenius at all, but I think it has to be Viv. I really like the way that Palova plays right now. I think she still gets to get forward, especially when Kimmy's able to pretty much do any single role that's asked of her. That really helps our midfielders. But for me, yeah, I think Viv's a fantastic player. I don't think that we should be just accepting the fact that I mean, if this is it, then that is really disappointing in my opinion. I think she's still got so much. She's still one of the best. In fact, she probably is one of the best players in the world. And I think that she could definitely do that role extremely well. And like we said earlier, it would be great to see how that would hopefully positively impact Russo as well. If she's able to get further forward and we really get Viv back in that number 10 role, I think it could be like very much game changing tactics wise. It's just that unfortunately they haven't been able to play together, and that Viv also hasn't really been able to have much of a role in the team this season as we're trying to get these new players into the side.
Cool, thank you. Paul, I'll come to you. So obviously I know Daisy mentioned about Stina and Russo in that number 9 role. Do you think it's between them two, or would you ever be tempted to move Beth into that 9 role?
I think Beth's doing a really good job where she is at the moment. it could be something in the odd game, maybe. Again, going back to Jonas and his predictability, it's something you could possibly throw in there. Maybe not against Man City if it was a title deciding match, but maybe against the likes of Everton or Leicester, one of the sort of mid to lower table teams. But I think it's got to be Stina or Alessia in that role for me in there. And I think if they can just get a few more games playing together, because we've been calling for it all season for those two to be starting together. Right back at the beginning, it was one started, the other one came off the bench to replace them. It's only been in the second half of the season that he's actually been playing Stina and Alessia in the 9 and 10 sort of positions together. I think going into next season, keep the partnership together. We all hope Stina will sign the new contract, keeping her here for another couple of seasons at least. And I think they could build up a brilliant partnership moving forward for us.
Yeah. The final point, Nat, I'll come to you with do you think Jonas has it in him to change his tactics and his formation?
This is a short answer, isn't it? I don't. Do you know? I want him to. I think we've seen when he's had to. When we, the back end of last season, when we were running out of players, and he had to think outside the box because he was looking at a piece of paper with more defenders than anything else on it, and we were playing 5 at the back, and it changed things. And it's like, as soon as people started coming back, he just falls into his old ways. I did want to make a little comment on the Stina Russo situation. I remember Man United away at the start of the season, and them two started. And I think it was the first goal, was it Stina scored? And I thought, them two, when they're playing together, when they have freedom up the top, the pair of them, and it's not just one, because they both hold the ball up really well. One holds the ball up, the other one needs to run on. And I think if they just had that time, and the problem is, I think if Jonas from that point had continued, because then he just fell into his, well, I'll start Russo and I'll bring Stina on. And then he's done that for a bit. And then it's like, well, we've got injuries and whatever. So, if Frida's not in and I can't play a 10, well, I'll just play them 2 or whatever. And it's like, he hasn't tried, for me, it's like he hasn't tried to get them to have a partnership. It's like when it's been a need because of the way the squad looks, he's played the 2 of them. Whereas I think if he'd have just kept that going for the whole of the season, I think we'd be in a different place now. I think everyone plays that same formation, and 2 in the middle, 2 wingers, a 10 and a 9 or whatever. And I just think it's like everyone's so scared to just change it up. And I just think, if you don't change, you stood still. And he talks about their core values and whatever. And I just think if we don't start changing something, we've got world-class players, absolute world-class players that deserve to be winning more than the Conti Cup every year. Because if we're being honest, it's the bottom of the 4 trophies, not where we want to be. I mean, really is. Thank God we did get it, because otherwise this would have been an absolute disaster of a season. But he has got to look at that bank of players he's got. Does Viv want to stay? Unless she's, having a conversation with Jonas, I think 100% agree with Daisy, she needs to be in the 10, 100%. But we've got it. I just think we've got so much versatility there. Use it, change it up, stop being so bloody predictable. And we definitely need a new set piece coach. We have wasted. I've said it on the pod. That Tottenham game, and I think, what did I say? I let them off with Liverpool. I'm not accepting. The United draw was of our own making, and the Tottenham game. I cannot accept that, and I can't accept Chelsea away, and I can't accept Sunday. We just haven't turned up, and it winds me up. They'll go, and I can't remember who said it before, but they'll go out on Sunday and watch them smash City 4-0 or something. Watch them do that, and it's actually more frustrating. I'm going off on one now. This wasn't even the answer to your question, George. Sorry, mate. We'll smash them 4-5-0, and then you go, this team could win the league. I think that's what's so because they're not meeting their potential. And whether that's a Jonas problem, a player's problem, coaching staff, whatever the problem is, thank God we've got a pre-season next season because we haven't got a lot of players obviously going to the Olympics, and obviously it's a shorter tournament. But God, just come on, man, we should be going for the quadruple. I mean, I called it at the beginning of the season. Obviously, I completely jinxed it. So
that's all right. I called it season already, so I probably.
George, a question from me, just a one-word answer for everybody, but I'm going to start with you, George. If you are Edu or Claire Wheatley and you've got one contract for Viv or Stina, one stays, one goes,
Wow.
who do you give it to?
Does the contract have 2 places that can be signed? Like, so
Just
they
a bit
can
of
play.
paper with whatever money they want, but just who out of the 2, who do you keep?
I'm gonna go just because of her world-class quality. Stina.
All right, Darren, what about you?
Yeah. Oh wow, what a question! What a question to ask. My word.
This is what I bring to the show when I'm on it.
I
so-
know. If there's a big if, Viv is 100% fit, then her all day. But she's been, bless her, been so unreliable this year with her injuries. And Stina actually my favourite player, so I'm going to say Stina.
Stina, Emma, but yeah.
That's just it's like a rock and a hard place, really. If it meant that Beth would stay, then definitely Viv all the way.
Paul?
It's such a difficult one. You've got 2 world-class players, both there, both deserving of it. Probably have to be Stina. In my eyes, I just think she just gives at the moment that little bit more to the team. Taking nothing away from Viv and what she's done over the years. She's a world-class, fantastic player. But yeah, I just think Stina just edges it for me at the moment.
Daisy, what about you? On your birthday?
I love Stina, but for me, Viv, I think people maybe forget a little bit just how good she is. And the only thing that would make me say Stina is not knowing, is that unknown of if we get that Viv back again. And that was as awful as that sounds, but there's so much in Viv, and I don't think we should let a world-class player like that go so easily. I don't think it's over there for Viv, so I'm going to go with the opposite and say Viv.
Nat, what about you?
Yeah, I think Daisy make a really good point, and we asked this question in one of our group chats the other day, and I went straight away with Stina. I think she's been really, when she's been called upon, she's been there, and I know, like, I've watched so many highlights of Viv, and she's incredible, but I do wonder the right team for Viv, as in under Jonas, because I just feel like them 2 butt heads, because we know Viv's outspoken, and if Viv's not happy playing, we're not going to get that Viv. So if we haven't got a happy Viv and someone who's enjoying a football, and we've heard all the players saying it's about that. They play their best when they're enjoying it, and if it means for Viv to go and play the remainder of her years somewhere where she's happy, let her go. And for me, I think Stina's the reason why we won a cup this year. And she was, all the crap she went through last season. I can't do short answers. I'm so sorry. After all the crap she went with the Russo thing at the beginning of last year, I think, and we're making it clear every single game we want Stina to stay, and I hope she feels that love. But yeah, I think short answer Stina, long answer what I just said.
Viv for me, pretty much what Daisy said, really. World-class player. I mean, she is the WSL all-time top goal scorer. If you could get her anywhere near that sort of level again. Maybe another question for another week. Is it Viv or Jonas getting it for the contract, I suppose? But do that another week.
I was just going to keep Stina and keep Viv and Jonas out.
Yeah.
Who would you bring in, though? Yeah, exactly. Who's the manager?
Ian
Emma
Wright.
Hayes.
I'm joking. Emma Hayes, goodness, can you imagine that?
No, we want to win trophies. Can't go. We're not
I
winning
know,
anything.
I know, yeah.
Well, before we finish off, Darren, obviously, I know you follow the men's as well.
Yeah.
Having this conversation with one of my friends, and we were saying that the buzz around Viv reminds me of when Thierry Henry was about to leave Arsenal all those years ago. Like, same sort of level. Like, they thought the whole club was going to fall to pieces, I think. And I think that's a really interesting point, what Nat said. Like, unless I've missed it at the games I've been at, I normally just hear us say we want Stina to stay. I've not heard Arsenal fans sing about wanting Viv to stay. I'm not saying that we want her to go, but I'm catching what Natalie's doing now. That's a long-winded question.
Sorry,
So
George.
my short question.
Well, I'm going to start my answer with a question you never asked. I mean, we don't actually chant enough about Viv anyway. You know, considering she is probably the number one world-class player we have, in my opinion. I guess most people would agree with that. You know, she hasn't got any bangers. So, you know, even whether she's on the pitch, which hasn't been much this season, or whether she's on the bench or not, there's just, I don't know. Is it just me? There doesn't seem to be much love for Viv from the masses. I'm probably wrong. Thierry Henry going to Barcelona, of course, yes, it was. I know this is a women's football show, and I'll keep this answer very quick. It was almost like the Messiah was leaving. How would we ever cope? But you do. You find a way to cope. Is Jonas the person to help us cope? Well, that's a conversation for another week. But yeah, I think we'll be okay. If Viv goes, I'm sure we're going to be fine.
Has Viv missed out? Sorry, has Viv sort of missed out a little bit in the growth of the fan base with a chance? That's why with the time that you consider, like, what, a year and a half ago, for the time she's sort of been out, and how the Boreham Wood and the Emirates has all changed, and most of that time Viv hasn't played. So if Viv maybe had been playing all that time, maybe she'd have a few more songs, or she'd feel a bit more love. Do you think?
Well, I guess I'm not the best person to answer that question because, as I say, this is only my first full season at the Arsenal. And, you know, to me, Boreham Wood has always been packed. And I know that's not the case a couple of seasons ago. So, yeah, she's missed out on the love this season because she's not been on the field. What was the songs for her before, 2-3 seasons ago, before that fan base grew massively?
Yeah, I agree and I disagree a little bit. Like, I think the Miedema song, was it your song, that I know your group that started it. I think that one's a really good, catchy Miedema one. But I agree, she hasn't got like about 100,000 songs like some of our players have. But yeah, maybe she did miss out on that. Like, where the fan base of, like, with the atmosphere groups have missed out. What do you think, Nat? Obviously, because you're quite...
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of a tough season wise for a couple of players. I've made my feelings clear. Leah Williamson gets hardly any love, and neither does Viv. I think she probably got more... Oh, God, what game was it? I think we sang her song... get started. The problem is, like, I try and start as much as I can, Boreham Wood, Emirates, whatever it is, and those ones are so hard. You start Katie McCabe, and 60,000 people know that song, and I think it's irrelevant, not irrelevant of obviously the last few years of Viv hasn't played, but she genuinely needs something a little bit more catchy. Chloe Lacasse has obviously gone off the rails this year, and that's been our number one chant, but it's like we got Beth's new one going and everyone joins in. But it's been a difficult one with Viv. Definitely, if you're in and amongst the red and white song chat, there's definitely been that conversation about Leah and Viv in particular, those two, the entire season, about they need something a little bit more. They deserve something a little bit more. 100% they do. And I don't think that helps. And I genuinely feel shit. I swear. Sorry, George.
That's
I I really feel bad on them because they do not get the love that they deserve, and we always just go back with those old faithfuls because they're just easy to get out. Kimmy's an easy one. That girl deserves love, but I think it's definitely something we need to have a look at. The problem is that we've got a lot of voices, which is fair, and we're trying to keep everyone happy. However, what we did last season with Russo, which I thought worked really well, we had about 50 million ideas for Russo. I think we came up with sort of 10 of them, and then we put them out to vote. And I do think that we need to maybe look at a few chants over the summer and go, look, what's working, what's not working. Let's put it out to the masses. Let's get some actual feelings from the masses and not just a couple of people. And also, we need to try and get the lyrics to our chants out to the masses, especially now with us being in the Emirates a lot more. We're taking, these big away away things. I think, I said on my pod this week about the atmosphere at Everton. One, it's hard to get going, but two, I do think, especially in the northern games, we get a lot of people that are only going to maybe one or two games. We want to get them as involved as possible. So I think we do need to do more. And I'm not sure if I've answered the question, but this has been a problem of mine for a long time. But yeah, I think it's something we need to look at, and I do think that's part of the problem. I'm not the biggest fan, however, you don't have to be. To make more of an effort to sing that, and we need to in the last two games, because if Viv is going, I want her to feel the love, because I know she will be a massive miss. I want her to stay. I want Stina to stay. I want them all to stay. I want us to add a little bit. I don't want us to lose any of this group that we've got at the minute. So, but yeah, new songs needed. I will agree with that.
I agree. With the Everton game, I think it's hard because on the TV, all I could hear was that flipping goalkeeper screaming her head off. But when you can't see and you're trying to listen to the commentary and all you can hear is that, it's like, all right, chill out, mate. Yeah, I do agree with some of the songs. Like there was so many. Like we nearly bought an album out. Now that's what.
Double album.
Yeah.
Now that's Russo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I feel when there's really quiet moments of the game, they just go back to the default, and that's something I think we need to try and improve at. Is there any comments, Dan?
Yeah, Dawn put a few comments in. Dawn Andrews saying about just a question that she would keep Viv, that Stina's very inconsistent. She's either scoring multiple goals or she's missing a few chances. A good point she makes is about that maybe some of the newer fans, for the last sort of year and a half, haven't seen the best of Viv.
Yeah,
real Viv at her peak, how good she actually was. A lot of fans, I don't know, she's sort of like some legend, like some myth of the Miedema myth but thing. And I think people, if you've not seen Viv at her best, go on YouTube, see some of the goals she was scoring a few seasons ago, just see how good a player she is. But yeah, definitely Viv needs a better chant. That is coming through the chat.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we've wrapped up there. We're going to finish off. Nat, I was going to ask you a couple of questions about your podcast. So you promote it on any of the other guests here have a question for Nat, put her on the spot because she likes short answers. So we've got till Sunday. So obviously I know we've been friends a little while and that, but where did the idea come about with starting the podcast?
To do something. I'd always sort of wanted to do a podcast, and I'd sort of toyed with the idea, and then I'd got talking to Susie and just said, I've got this idea, but I don't really fancy starting it on my own. So obviously we started it together, and we really wanted to sort of just my biggest thing was going to start following Arsenal literally, as I can't even explain to you, has changed my life in the last, nearly 2 years. And it's the best thing I ever did. And what I wanted to try and do was the people that can't get to games, make them feel like they're there. I've met so many people. It's literally the best thing I've ever done. And now I'm really enjoying it. In fact, I can't believe we're coming to the end of season 3. But and it's got me to speak to so many more people as well. It's really nice when people come up and talk to me about it. But I don't even do it for the listens. I just do it because it is a little bit of therapy, and I get to have a laugh with my friends. And obviously, Kate's been doing it with me this year. Susie's been taking a break and working on some other things, which is absolutely fine. But I've honestly fallen back in love with it this year, and it's great, and hopefully people enjoy it. And if you haven't listened to this week's, I do go on an absolute mega rant. So enjoy that.
It's enjoyable.
I will listen to that because I do like your rants. I really enjoy them in the North Bank as well, to be fair.
Yeah, this is me. I went well off on one, like proper, like I nearly cut it out, if I'm being honest, but then Kate was like, no, leave it in. I was like, okay, well, if I get any backlash, it's on you. So
But I think that what you do with the podcast and that is really, really good. Like, I'm not just saying this, but it kind of inspired me to do this podcast because of that. So, and I think it helps, like, with a lot of confidence with people. And like you say, like, meeting different people, like, soon we'll be, like, you'll be giving out autographs in the coronet.
yeah, I don't think we'll get that far, but no, George, honestly, like, I just think that sometimes, you know, we want to, it's a really good platform to just sort of get out what you want, and well done for starting this. Honestly, I'm really happy to be on here today, so just keep doing that. And I think the thing is, I tried to find a little bit of a niche. I didn't want to talk about, you know, if you've listened to any of the episodes, I don't talk about what goes on the pitch. Not very much anyway. It really is about us as a group. I'm really proud of everything that we've done, and just getting that out, and just having some fun, and I just want to make people smile. So if you've heard me in the North Bank, that's all I try and do, crack jokes for 90 minutes, especially when we're not winning. So
Yeah, I know you always appreciate my blind stuff I shout.
I know. Yeah, yeah, we have some good banter, George. It's good.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions from that?
Yeah, I've got one not directly relating to the podcast, but how do you do that 3.5, 4 hour drive week in, week out down to London? Because that going up that M6 last week and again this coming Sunday with all those roadworks is such a drag.
Because
I applaud you. I applaud you for doing it.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'm so used to it now. It honestly, you know, I'm lucky. I've got a diesel car and a Costco card, so luckily I saved quite a bit of money that. But honestly, like driving down to Boreham Wood, it's about 3.5 hours, and it's like driving to the shops now. It's mad. But the thing is, I've got such motivation to do it, to get in the, whether I'm getting up at 4 in the, I'm not, well, listen, I'm going to play myself a little bit here, whether I'm getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, get home at 2 o'clock at night in the morning. I do it because I love the people that I love this club. I love watching the girls, but I go because of the group of people that, you know, that I've met, and I go for, you know, I always say at work, I like my social life literally is in, you know, Hertfordshire, London, whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just second nature now. I never genuinely thought I would be going to. I've missed 2 games all season. London City Lionesses game, and I missed the. God, I'm glad I missed it. The Tottenham away, but yeah. Hope as long as my car holds out, we're good. But it's not just me. Honestly, there's a few other people. You know, Ian's driving up and down, getting the train or whatever. And there's a girl down the road from me, Laura, tries to get to as many games. But there's a lot of us up in the northwest. And there's a lot of people travelling from all over. But yeah, it's not. I say it's when the West Ham game, I think, by far was the worst drive home I've ever had in my life, because the M25 was a joke, and it was, and obviously we'd lost, you know, due to that Manu assist, and it was that was probably the worst one. But when we've won and stuff, like after the Chelsea game, I flew home, so it's fine. Home, not away, obviously.
Yeah, so I think we went home in the first 20 minutes. We made them away.
Yeah.
It was like Pop World before the game, and all they kept doing was playing music. Yeah, I kind of applaud the travel as well. Like, it must be, especially after a game that's has been really, really disappointing. I'll ask this question. It's quite a broad question. So we're part of the Red and White. You've seen the level we've gone to with the atmosphere, with the supporters club as well. Why do you think that other teams, and I'll name drop, teams like Chelsea, like who are supposed to be an amazing club when they're not, why do you think their atmosphere is not anywhere near how we're doing it?
I don't know. I genuinely think you can't replicate what Arsenal have got. I think it's been really organic over the last sort of 12, 18 months. I think it's a lot to do with the people. Because it's the people, if you have people invested in the cause that want to make an effort, that want to come together, that have a connection together, everything we've done none of it has been forced, at any point. And you can't force that. And I think other teams, Everton do a good job. There's not loads of them, but they make a lot of noise. They've got some really good chants. And I know from speaking to Farah, obviously, I think Brighton have got a really good supporters club, and they are trying to do that. But Chelsea's got Basel. I tell you what was a bit thing. I was watching a clip, and it was Basel dancing over to one side. I think it was on the telly. But everyone else was just sat in their seats. Like, even Basel can't get them invested. And this wasn't at the point where they were losing. I think they might have even been winning 1-0. And I just think that's the point. It's about the people, and that's what we've got. We are extremely lucky that we've got a really, really good group of people over a few different, home and away, red and white, and obviously the supporters club. We all come together. We've all got this, and we've all got the same end game. We've watched this grow together, and we want to keep building on it. And I think Villa are trying, and other clubs, but you can't fake it. And I don't think there's a special formula for it. I think you've got it or you've not got it. I'm sure that's the same in the men's game. There'll be some clubs that have got sort of what we've got in the women's game. I don't really follow the men's football, that whatever that is. But yeah, I think we are extremely lucky. This could have been any club, but I'm really, really glad that it is us, and I'm so excited for next season. Just keep growing it and getting more and more people involved. That one day when we actually get a full 60,000 all singing North London Forever, all singing Katie McCabe, all, allaying, the scarves are going now. When you look out at the Emirates, last few games we've had, when we're singing that in Block 2 and you look around, those scarves are going everywhere. And I'm really proud, and everyone should be really proud, whether you clap, you sing, whatever you do, just go into games. But we are just a special bunch of people, and I'll say that.
And not special in that way, Dan, before you say.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, with football, I think that's really important, how we're growing. I'll be honest, it's completely changed my life. And I used to go to the men's games quite regular, and it has completely changed my life to be part of something that's special and to feel so welcome. So, it's a good place to be.
We've come a long way from leaving you at the train station in Munich last year, didn't we, George? So I am still sorry about that.
That's fine. Context, that was when we went to Bayern Munich away.
Munich, yeah. We all got a bit excited getting off the train, and then thank God these Munich fans helped you. I'm so sorry, George.
Yeah, the only person I thought about was the blind guy, so it's just fine. But we can.
Oh dear. We laugh about it now.
Yeah. Any final comments before we wrap the show up?
Just one for me, for Nat. So anyone crazy enough that isn't listening to the podcast and that, or how would they find it? What they need to do to?
The podcast's on whatever podcast you use, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Just search Inside the Red and White, and it's their nice red logo. Or find me on Instagram, inside_. I don't know. Anyway, I'll get George to share the link in the description if you can, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, just Google it, put it in Spotify or Apple, and it'll pop up. And there's 3 seasons of episodes. Maybe don't go back all the way to the beginning. Maybe start at the beginning of season 2. We're not as rusty. So
cool. Thank you. Well, I want to say thank you to all my guests. So thank you, Emma. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for having me.
No worries. And
lovely to see everyone as well.
Sorry, I forgot about you at the start out to confident.
That's all right.
Put it down to a blind moment. Darren, thank you. Great as always.
Enjoyed my debut. Thanks for having me. And we didn't do score predictions, so 2-1 to Arsenal on Sunday.
Yeah.
Take that.
Actually, we'll go quickly. Emma, what was your score predictions?
Oh, I'd say a 2-2 draw. We're gonna fight to the death.
Yeah. Daisy.
I'm going with the Arsenal with our great away section. We're gonna carry that team to a victory. I think 2-1.
Cool. Paul.
Yeah, I think we can do it on Sunday. I think we can go 2-0. Just give the girls so much support and love like we normally do.
Dan.
3-0. Stina, first goal scorer.
Oh yeah.
Nat.
I think it's going to be a tense one. I think it's going to be goals galore. I think it's going to be absolutely mad. I'm going to go 3-2, obviously to Arsenal with a little, I don't know, Stina ballerina winner at the end.
I'm going to still do what I do on every show, and then one time it's going to come off. 4-0 Arsenal.
Ambitious.
Yeah, I do it every show, mate. Like, so one of them. So I'm going to go for an Emily Fox goal because we still ain't had that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thanks for coming on, Nat. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I
No
really
worries.
enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
Hope you come back again. Hope we ain't scared you off.
No, God, no. I talk for England, so.
Daisy, thank you, and especially like with it being your birthday, it means a lot.
That's been great. Great time to spend my birthday here. So thanks for having me again.
No problem. Paul, I know it was your debut as well, so thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Been good. Look forward to seeing everyone on Sunday.
I feel like I'm doing the school register, like just make.
I know.
Dan, thank you as always. Thanks for your help and all that. And I'm pretty sure that you've not seen my face throughout most of this show, but yeah.
Yeah, we haven't, but there was an appropriate time to mention Lena Hurtig, so we've just gone with it. But thank you for hosting, Jules. Great host as always.
No worries. So yeah, obviously, guys watching it back, please continue to like and subscribe. Really helps the channel. We have other shows on this channel as well. There's a few men's shows. There's a wrestling one if you like that. But obviously, we know this is the best show. So continue to support us. Have a lovely weekend and come on, you Gunners.